Om Sarvadharmastapakastvam Sarvadharmaswarupakaha Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. We are studying first part of Sri Ramakrishna the Great Master, named Historical Background and Early Life, and we have to start chapter 4 today. Chapter 3 dealt with Sri Ram's experiences, especially the end of that chapter dealt with Sri Ram's experiences at Gaya and how he saw in the divine dream that the Lord said that I am pleased with you and I will be born as your son in your house. To which he said that I cannot serve you properly, and to which the divine Lord said, I will not take offense. Whatever you do, give me, I will accept that. You should not obstruct my desire. I will be born in your house. Now, in this chapter, we have to deal with strange experiences of Chandra Devi. Strange means unusual, beyond the senses, so they are called strange. But before we start, Saradananda Swamiji has taken a new course. And we have seen right from the preface of Guru Bhava Purvarga that he has said mostly we have to take recourse to scriptures in order to understand Sri Ramakrishna. And in many cases, we have to refer to the group called Avatara in order to understand Sri Ramakrishna. Because these things are rare does not mean that they are false. There is a definite group, and so a special group, not like you and me. And the fun is that this does not depend upon a particular religion also. Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, they all have similar narratives. So in that way, he is starting that what were the experiences of the parents of these incarnations of God. And so we read recorded spiritual experiences of the parents of incarnations at the time of their birth. The unique spiritual experiences and visions. We have seen again and again that the ocular experiences are called visions, and there may be experiences without the visions also. The unique spiritual experiences and visions of the parents of great souls who sanctify the earth by their birth are recorded in the religious books of all races. For example, this has been done in the case of the parents of divine personages like the glorious Sri Ramachandra, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Buddha the son of Maya Devi, Jesus the son of Mary, Bhagavan Sri Shankara, Sri Chaitanya the great Lord, Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and others, whoever since their birth have been receiving the adoration and reverence of devout human beings. That means if their devotion is not there, then people do not look at them. But those who have devotion adore them as avatars, God Himself. It will be sufficient if we tell the reader a few instances to show the group. It is well known that, according to the Ramayana, the mothers of Sri Ramachandra and his three half-brothers means father Dasharatha, mothers different, conceived on eating the milk pudding left over in the sacrificial vessel. That is, Yagyavashishta Patravashesh Vacharu. Okay. So, Dashratha was not getting any son. So he performed the Putra Kameshti Yajna. And in that Putra Kameshti Yajna, here it mentions the Avashishta. We have read a slightly different version that the god of fire himself came out as Prasada, some pious, some milk pudding. And the rishis asked Dasharatha to give that to his wives. So the main point here is whether this or that they were not born out of the physical sexual union of Dasharatha with his wives. Immaculate birth. So when the queens took that payasam, they conceived. It is also recorded that they came to know more than once, before and after the birth of the sons, that they were endowed with spiritual powers and were actual parts of Vishnu. Parts because four are born. The Divine Lord and preserver of the universe. Vishnu is the preserver of the universe and they are his parts. That is, they came to know through various visions and experiences. So that is about Rama. The parents of Sri Krishna knew both at the time of his entering the mother's womb and also immediately after he was born that he was God incarnate, endowed with its six divine powers, Shadaishwarya. These six special qualities of God were in that personage. Besides this, Puranas like the Bhagavata recount strange incidents in their daily lives from the moment Krishna was born. So, about Krishna. When the Buddha came, Maya Devi saw in a vision an exalted being entering her womb in the form of an effulgent white elephant. Elephant cannot enter man's womb. So she saw like that. So that is some divine personage. Effulgent white elephant. And all the gods, including Indra, the king of gods, paying homage to her because of her great good fortune. So all the gods, including Indra, she saw paying homage to her because Vishnu himself is being born. Before Lord Jesus was born, his mother Mary felt that she had become pregnant without knowing is a symbolic expression. I would write without coming in touch with her husband. They were betrothed but not married, and so they had not come to live together. In such days, she conceived. So again the same, immaculate birth. She became pregnant without coming in touch with her husband Joseph. Filled with a spiritual radiance never seen before, she knew that she had conceived. The mother of Bhagwan Shankara knew that she had conceived when the God of gods, Mahadev, came to her in a vision and granted her a boon. So, same thing, immaculate birth. Shiva granted her a boon, Mahadev, and then she became pregnant. We read in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and other books that Shachi Devi, the mother of Bhagwan Sri Chaitanya, also had similar spiritual experiences. So the full group he has described of non-avataras. All the religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, etc., have shown that now at different point. This is one point. Birth before and after of the incarnations, Hinduism, Buddhism, of course. Buddhism also is born in India and we Hindus take him as the incarnation of Vishnu. And Christianity in a very different land. But this is common. Now, second point. Important point spiritually, very important point. All the religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, etc., have shown that the worship of God with intense love, worship of God with intense love is the easiest way to obtain His grace. Now they have weakened, suddenly diluted that translation. His grace of obtaining moksha, liberation, very directly mentioned by Saradananda Swamiji. And depending upon the religious text of Hinduism, Buddhism and Christianity. So, please change this. Though God's grace will give them moksha, but God's grace is a very dilute expression of the more direct expression of moksha. Shown that and mind you, why it is important, Jnanat, moksha and all that we hear, but the easiest way to get moksha is worship of God with intense love. So love is the force to get God's grace, get moksha, and we find this very, very clearly mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. That and Bhagavata and all other Puranas. And so, in the literature of Buddhism and in the literature of Christianity, all this we find common again. Since they all answered this, the question that naturally arises in the mind of an impartial investigator, if you are not biased that what religion says is wrong, if you are impartial and see that the common thing is described in the different religions, then why it has come? Have they copied from each other? Christianity, which was born in such a distant land, distant time, has it copied from Krishna's birth? There are people telling that Krishna's life was copied from Jesus. They are independent descriptions and common in all the religions. So, some truth has to be there. Since they all assert this, the question that naturally arises in the mind of an impartial investigator is whether there is any truth underlying this statement. Statement that by bhakti you will get moksha. Underlying this statement, when all religions assert that, is there some truth? And if so, what part of the experiences narrated above should be accepted and what rejected? An impartial observer is ready to reject also if that is not found authentic. But these experiences which show that the Lord is born immaculately, automatically the worship with devotion, with love, occurs in the mind of the devotee. So there is an inside connection between these two, as suggested by Saradananda, that easiest path is worship with love. And they are divine personages. Because they are special divine personages, worshipped as incarnations. So, a natural flow of devotion comes in the mind of a devotee. And so, these two things we are examining, that all the religions are telling that. So, there is some truth in it. Point number one. Point number two, in all these strange experiences which appear similar in different incarnations, what part is true, what is not true. So if you find something not true, you may reject it, but not before that. So these are the 2 points mentioned by Saradananda ji. Now he reasons out. Reason underlying that statement. So reason works on the data. If you deny the data, then there is no reason. That is not rationality at all. Simply because some strange thing is mentioned, we cannot throw it overboard. When it is repeated in different countries, in different times, similar things are narrated, then there has to be some truth in that. So that is called reason. Reason works on the data supplied. And when the data at the time of birth from different incarnations in different nations are similar, well, we must work on that. So he says, even reason suggests. Even means, what is even? যুক্তি अन्य পক্ষে মানবকে ইঙ্গিত করিয়া থাকে যে কথাটার ভিতরে কিছু সত্য থাকিলেও থাকিতে পারে. There is no mention of even in Bengali. अन्य पक्षे. अन्य पक्षे means on the other side. Okay, even. Even reason means something else also, and reason. Here he says, on the other side. Other side means we start reasoning and find that there has to be something common without throwing it overboard. On the other hand, reason suggests that after all there may be some truth in what has been said. For modern science accepts that only parents possessing great virtues can beget children of lofty character. So modern science thinks of hereditary, and even that modern science, there even you may apply. That even modern science suggests that something common has to be there. So it cannot be denied that the parents of Krishna, Buddha, Jesus and those like them, here Rama is missing, it does not matter because group is mentioned, especially different religions. So, one representative from each religion they have taken. So it cannot be denied that the parents of Krishna, Buddha, Jesus and those like them, Chaitanya, Shankara, all these are missed. because from Hinduism they have picked up Krishna. And again it is clear, we are endowed with the noblest qualities, parents. Noblest qualities because highest characters are born. And again, it is clear that when those remarkable children were born, the parents dwelt in exalted planes of consciousness beyond the reach of ordinary human beings. How they got these experiences? Experiences depend upon the level of consciousness. And so, when they got these experiences, they must have dwelt in higher levels of consciousness beyond the reach of ordinary mortals. It was this that made them fit for such unique visions and experiences. This is what impartial reason will tell us. Although difficult to accept because man sees only five senses. Such visions, etc., are not to be discarded as untrue because common. And the reason is that their minds are in exalted regions. Although the Puranas record many examples of such experiences, these some are mentioned, but there are many experiences in Puranas. Puranas including Puranas regarding Buddha, all incarnations, Jesus, all. And though they are not opposed to reason, so they are not opposed to reason because reason has shown, yes, it can be. And Puranas are described. The human mind cannot accept them fully. Human mind believing in the five senses, putting its trust only in the knowledge gained by the senses. It cannot fully believe in the existence of entities such. So, anything supersensuous it cannot believe because it believes in five senses. In the existence of entities such as the self, God, liberation, a hereafter, and the like, except through direct realization. So if we realize that, then only our faith will be permanent and real. So reason suggests that it can be true. We believe in five senses, so we cannot believe it fully. Then what to do? If we, that easy path suggested or any path, that if we start with devotion or any path to spirituality and have our own experiences, then we fully believe. So, what we call the hypothetical basic faith is reason is supporting. And full belief comes only if we realize. Although this is so, an impartial investigator does not discard any experience only because it is rare or uncommon. So if we are not believing, we cannot discard also, simply because it is rare. But there is a group. If it was only one, then we would have taken it as strange and not true. But when there is a group, though rare, uncommon, but there is a group. Because it is rare or uncommon, but taking a stand on facts, so facts described are like this. On that I take my stand. He calmly proceeds to collect evidences for and against it. So that is what the reason does. Find out for, against. And finally, on the basis of these objective data, either rejects or accepts it. That is a normal reason. In any case, we have come to know through reliable sources. So, in these cases, Saradananda Swamiji says we have come to know through reliable sources. They were not unreliable. And they are telling us it happened like that. that the parents of the great personage whose life we are to write had at the time of his birth various spiritual visions and experiences. One common term he uses is spiritual, relating to spirit. And at the time of his birth, various spiritual visions and experiences were therefore no alternative but to record those facts. So, reliable persons' facts, we must record them. In the previous chapter, so we will not go to rejecting them, we will accept them when we fully realize, but we must take for granted those facts for consideration. In the previous chapter, we told the reader a few such instances about Khudiram, his various experiences, culminating in that experience in Gaya. And we will now do the same with respect of Chandra Devi. On the return from Gaya, now it describes in a graded manner, coming from Khudiram. How he came to know from Chandra Devi, that is the way he will take us. On his return from Gaya, Khudiram found a change in Chandra Devi's mental condition. So the mind itself had changed. Change in mental condition does not mean any derangement, it has gone high. On his return home, Khudiram did not tell anyone about the strange dream he had had in Gaya because his attitude was, let me see, but wanted to see what would happen. The first thing he observed was the wonderful change that had come over Chandra Devi. In his eyes, she was no longer an ordinary woman. So he was a keen person, highly spiritualized. And in his eyes, she is not an ordinary person, but indeed a goddess. Such was the change that Khudiram, like man, saw her as goddess. And all embracing love not only for her children or her people, but all embracing love, springing from some unknown source. So he does not know the source up till now, but he sees that there is universal love in her. Filled her heart and raised her to a lofty plane beyond all worldly desires. So she will not think of herself to get desires because the universal love has come in her. She was now more concerned about the wants of her neighbors than about her own affairs. She was always concerned, but now more concerned about them than her own. In the midst of her household duties, she would now and then go to attend to their needs, though they were poor. Unobserved, she would take provisions and other daily necessities from her store and give to the needy. Unobserved means whether the other people will like or not. But her own store, and she is giving this universal love. After finishing the service of Raghuveer, she would serve food to her husband and children. Then, though already late, she would go before taking her own food to find out if her neighbors had taken theirs. So strange Chandradevi's character has become. If someday she happened to meet anyone who for any reason had gone without food, she would insist on taking him home and feeding him with her own share of cooked food. Then she would herself take what little she could find and pass the day quite contented. So much change, huh? Okay. Chandra Devi's motherly affection found a wider range. So one thing, love for all, consideration for all, more than herself, and then motherly love. Because she is getting God as her child, so the whole world is her child. That attitude came. Shudiram found that Chandra, who always loved as her own the children of the neighborhood, now felt a motherly love for the gods also. No. She had already this character that loved the neighbor children as her own. But now she felt the gods as her children. Because the Sarva Deva Devi Swarup, Bhagavan is coming, so all the gods are her children. She actually looked upon Raghuveer, the family deity, as her own son, and also regarded the goddess Shitala and the emblem of the god Rameshwar as her children. That Rameshwar is Shiva. Formerly her heart always used to be filled with awe at the time of the service and worship of these deities. They are so high. So, a fear-like expression comes by too much of respect that she had up till now. But now they are her children. But now the force of love completely replaced that feeling. Any idea of fear or hesitation in her approach to the gods vanished. Sankoch, hesitation. And she had now nothing to hide from them or ask of them. So normally man asks from God or hides his weakness from them. Now nothing, because they are our children. Instead came the assurance that the gods were even closer to her than her own children. Oh. And an intense desire to sacrifice her all to make them happy, and an ecstasy of being bound to them in an eternal relation. So always dealing in samadhi, always dealing in the higher consciousness. Shudiram's anxiety for her and his desire to warn her, because she was too simple. Shudiram noticed that as a result of her carefree devotion to the gods and the joy from her intimate relationship with them, the simple-hearted Chandra became more trusting than ever. She could no longer suspect anyone, nor look upon another as a stranger. God is all-pervading, so nobody is a stranger. He thought the selfish world will never appreciate such guilelessness. On the contrary, she will be called silly or mad or something like that. Too simple, so in people I silly or mad. Therefore, he looked for an opportunity to warn her. Now, she will describe to him Chandra Devi's strange dream. It was not long before his opportunity came. The simple Chandra could not keep a single thought from her husband. She often confided her thoughts even to her friends. How then could she keep them from one whom God had placed nearer to her than anyone else in the world? That is what is the husband and wife relation. Therefore, after Khudiram returned home from Gaya, Chandra Devi for days together took every opportunity to relate to him all that she had seen or experienced during his absence, one by one. One day she told him, when you were away, I had a strange dream in which I saw a luminous God lying on my bed, conceiving from God. At first I thought it was you, but soon realized that no human being could be like that. Then I woke up, but the thought persisted that the God was still in the bed. The next moment, another thought came. Does a God ever appear to a human being in this way? That means she had not sought or anything. Then it occurred to me that some wicked person might have entered the room for an evil purpose, and that perhaps the sound of his footsteps had caused my dream. Strange connection she is feeling. No connection. That means nobody was sleeping on the bed, but somebody had entered. And because of his sound, she got the dream that somebody is sleeping. A great fear then seized me. I got up hurriedly and lighted a lamp, but found that there was no one in the room and the door was still bolted from within. But fear kept me away for the rest of that night. Then I thought, is it possible that a person had entered the room somehow by removing the bolt, but seeing me away, ran away after replacing it in a mysterious way? Inside bolt, outside the man comes and goes away. Again, inside bolt is there. So, because she was too simple, she imagined all these things. The reality was it was God who had come. And God does not require any nuts or bolts or any doors to come. As soon as it was morning, I sent for Dhani and Prasanga. Dhani is her friend, the blacksmith, and Prasanga is the sister of the Lahad, a very pious person. And after telling them everything, asked, do you think a man really entered my room? I have no quarrel with anyone in their village. Only I had some words with Madhu Jugi the other day over a trifling matter. Is it possible that he entered my room because of some grudge against me? Both of them laughed and chided me, saying, you silly woman, has old age affected your brain? Why do you talk that way about your dream? Think what other people will say when hear about it. It will give rise to a scandal and will be ridiculed if you mention it to anybody again. Hearing this, I thought, oh, then it was really a dream. I would not tell anyone about it but you on your return. She is never afraid of what husband will think. Chandra Devi's divine vision and experience in front of the Shiva temple. Now direct. That was somewhat indirect. Now direct. On another occasion, when I was speaking with Dhani in front of the temple of the Jugis, Jugi is the name of a family. They have a Shiva temple, and in front of that temple, she was talking with Dhani. I suddenly saw a divine effulgence come from the holy image of the great god Shiva. Jyoti, light, came from there, filled the temple, and rushed towards me in waves. Taken by surprise, I was on the point of telling Dhani about it when all of a sudden, the light engulfed me and swiftly entered into my body. Engulfed me and entered my body. Stunned by wonder and fear, I fell down unconscious. Fear and wonder. Fear because of strange wonder. Afterwards, when Dhani had helped me to recover, I told her everything. At first, she was much surprised. Then she said, you had an epileptic fit. Dhani could understand this much. But I have the feeling that the light has been in my womb, that is, she is telling Chudiram now, ever since, and that I am pregnant. I told this also to Dhani and Prasanga, but they rebuked me and called me silly, mad, and whatnot. According to them, what? Because she cannot be pregnant, in their opinion, because Chudiram is away. According to them, what I had experienced was caused by some delusion or bodily affliction. Trying in various ways to make me understand this, They warned me not to speak of the occurrence to anyone else. Determined not to divulge it to anyone except you, I have so far kept silent. So their warning was useful in this way, that she did not talk to others. Well, what do you think? Was it the grace of God that did it? Or could it have been due only to ill health? Even now I have the feeling that I am pregnant. Shudiram warned Chandra Devi not to tell these things to anybody, because let the result come. As he listened to everything that Chandra said, Shudiram remembered his own dream at Gaya. There he saw Vishnu. Here she is seeing Shiva. Then, reassuring her in various ways, he said, do not henceforth speak about such visions and experiences to anybody, Dhani or Prasanga or anybody, except me. Be free from all anxiety and know for certain that whatever Raghuveer shows, the family deity, by his grace is for our good. During my stay at Gaya, Gadadhar revealed to me in a supernatural way that a son would be born to us. This much. These words of her godlike husband set Chandradevi's mind at rest, and obeying him, she henceforward depended entirely on Raghuveer. 3 or 4 months had passed after this conversation between Khudiram and his wife, when it became clear to everyone that Chandra Devi, although past 45, had become pregnant again. Women are said to gain in loveliness and grace when they are in the family way. This was noticed in Chandra Devi also, and Dhani and other women of the village used to remark that she appeared lovelier this time than in any previous occasion. Yes, God is coming. As the news spread, some of them began to whisper among themselves, imagine a woman conceiving at her age and looking so sweet. She may even die at the time of delivery. So, because of strain, she may not be able to survive. Chandra Devi's visions after conception now change. All gods have become her children now. Day by day, after she had conceived, Chandra Devi's spiritual visions and experiences became more numerous. It is said that at this time, her visions of gods and goddesses occurred almost daily. At times, she was aware of a purifying fragrance coming from the bodies of these holy beings and spreading over the whole house. Or again, she would hear celestial voices and be struck with wonder. So all the five senses are working super sensuously. Smell, ears. It is also said that at this time her heart overflowed with motherly love for all the gods and goddesses. It was previously mentioned, happened at this time. Almost every day she would tell her husband about these visions and experiences and ask why they should come to her, these experiences. Shudiram comforted her in various ways and told her not to be perturbed. We shall now relate an incident of the period. Saradananda Swami relates one particular incident, though it was happening almost daily. We were told that Chandra described it thus to her husband with a feeling of awe. O revered one, there is no end to the number of gods and goddesses who have shown themselves to me from time to time, ever since the day I saw the light standing in front of the Shiva temple. Many of them I have never seen before. She is not imagining, not even in pictures. So no idea. Today I saw a god come on the back of a swan. At first I was startled, but then feeling sorry for him, as his face was red with the heat of the sun, I called him and said, oh dear little god riding a swan, your face looks burned by the sun. There is in the house some cold rice prepared yesterday. That is the Bengali system also in Tamil Nadu and Kerala. That means if ice has remained extra overnight, it is kept immersed in water. And that has a very great cooling effect on the system. Some of the villagers, farmers take that is their main breakfast. They take that and go to the fields. So such rice was there, cooling effect. Thus is in the house some cold rice prepared yesterday. Come, eat a little and get refreshed before you go. He heard me and smiled, but then faded away, and I could see him no more. He had just come to show her that he is going to be her son, and he went away. He does not require this. I see many such forms. I do not worship or meditate on them. So there is no conditioned thinking. And yet I see them at any time of the day or night. Sometimes they come before me in human shapes and then dissolve into thin air. Can you tell me why I see all this? Is it some disease? At times I wonder if I am possessed by the spirit of Gosai. So, footnote it explains. The appearance after the death of Suklal Goswami of various supernal portents gave the villagers the idea that either he or some other dead person of his family had become a ghost and was living in the bakula tree in front of his house. Under the influence of that belief, the villagers used to say, whenever anyone had a supernatural experience, that the person was possessed by Goswami. The simple-hearted Chandra Devi also thought so at the time. So, strange experiences as a ghost possessed me. Goswamis. Then Khudiram told her again about the dream he had at Gaya and pointed out how fortunate she was to be actually carrying in her womb the Supreme Lord, whose purifying influence alone gave rise to her spiritual vision. God is in you, so you have become purified, and that is why the visions are coming on a higher level of consciousness. Khudiram's explanation is correct spiritually. Because of her absolute faith in her husband's word, that was her great quality. What he now said filled Chandra's heart with supreme devotion. Fortified by new strength, she became free from anxiety. So after that, free from anxiety, time rolled on. Completely surrendering themselves to Raghuveer, Khudiram and his virtuous wife spent their days in the expectation of beholding as their son the divine being whose auspicious presence had already filled their lives with deep devotion. We move on to the next chapter. Chapter 5, A Great Soul is Born. Autumn was succeeded by the season of dew, Hemant. Season of dew, Hemant. That means when the Osabindu, when the dew drops. And winter, then comes Sheet. Then that is fall. And then spring. The king of the seasons had arrived. So winter has passed away. Spring is the king of seasons because the whole earth is filled with romantic beauty. There was a pleasant softness in the air, and all creation was pulsating with new life, new leaves, new flowers. The lovely month of Falgun, neither hot nor cold, was only 6 days old. Bengali Falgun, huh? Bengali Falgun, solar month. So 6 days. By lunar Shukla Dvitiya. But this is solar Falgun. There was a great surge of love in nature. which in its beauty manifested, as the scriptures say, a particle of the bliss of Brahman latent in all beings. So the whole nature, a particle of Brahman joy is there. In spring, it increases slightly. Of all the seasons, spring has received just a little more of that divine effulgent bliss, since it showers on the world soul great joy. So that is the main thing in spring. Chandra Devi's apprehension was removed by her husband. Chandra Devi's time of delivery was near at hand, and the heart was filled with a celestial joy as she prepared as she prepared the daily food offering for Raghuveer. That is her heart. But in her body, there was a feeling of great lassitude. Then suddenly the thought came that something might happen at any moment, and that if she should deliver just then, there would be nobody in the house to prepare the offerings. So, night time. She was cooking. What was she to do? Alarmed, she told her thoughts to her husband. Khudiram put her mind at rest, saying, "See his faith. Fear not. Surely, he who is now in your womb will not by his birth become a hindrance to the worship and service of Raghuveer. See the faith. Don't be anxious. Certainly, you will be able to manage the service of the God today. I have already arranged for the service from tomorrow." He has seen that and he had arranged from tomorrow. And Dhani has been asked to sleep here from tonight. From tonight, expected any day, so she should sleep with you. At this, Chandra felt a new strength in her body and cheerfully went on with her household duties. It happened exactly as Khudiram had said. The midday and evening offerings to Raghuveer and the other services to him were finished without a single hitch. Khudiram and Ramkumar went to bed after taking their night meal, and Dhani came and lay in the same room with Chandra Devi. Besides the shrine room of Raghuveer, there were two bedrooms with a thatched roof and a kitchen. In another small room, there was a husking machine on one side and a fireplace for boiling paddy on the other. These people from other parts of India than Bengal and Tamil Nadu should understand. In other parts, the paddy is dried in the hot sun and then husked. But in Bengal and Tamil Nadu, due to the moist season and rainy season, the paddy does not get dry in hot sun. So it is boiled and then husked. That is the 60. And so there are names in Bengali: Siddha Chal, Atapa Chal. Atapa means under the hot sun. So that is the 60. And for that, there is a husking machine. A small room where there was a husking machine on one side and a fireplace for boiling potty on the other. For want of a better place, this room, which also had a thatched roof, was kept ready for Chandra's confinement. So fire was not burnt at that time, but the fireplace and husking machine, and within that thatched roof, she was to deliver, and Dhani would sleep with her. Dhani will act as midwife. The birth of Gadadhar. Gadadhar name because Khudiram's vision. It was some 10 minutes before dawn that Chandra Devi felt the first pangs of labor. Then he helped her to the lying in room. And there, almost immediately, she gave birth to a male child. After doing the needful for Chandra, then he turned her attention to the baby, only to find that it had disappeared from the place where she had kept it. In alarm, she took the lamp to look for the child and found that it had rolled down the ground, covered with blood and slime, into the hollow fireplace, and was lying there with its little body adorned with ashes. So, Shiva like. Shiva adorns his body by ashes, and this baby automatically had rolled down in the fireplace where there were only ashes and had covered, along with whatever blood and slime was there. And still not crying, that is the fun. When somebody comes to this world, it cries, saying, "Where have I come?" But God has come for a purpose for the world, so he is not crying. Then he tenderly picked up the child, washed it, and looking at it in the light, wondered at its beauty and its size. It looked like a 6-month-old infant. So, grown up, more developed than ordinary people. Chandramani's friends, Prasanga and other women of the Leela family were sent for. As soon as they arrived, then he told them what had happened at the sacred solemn hour before sunrise dawn. The sound of the conch filled that humble cottage. The Bengali method of welcoming any auspicious moment is by blowing the conch shells. In Punjab, when somebody dies, they blow conch shells. The scene of Kshudiram's austerity, that kutia, and proclaim to the world the advent of a great soul. Ascertaining the signs of the zodiac under which the child was born, signs of zodiac according to astronomy and astrology are 12 signs and they are placed in different portions of the sky under which the child was born. That means at that moment, Kshudiram, well versed in astrology, found that the boy had come into the world at an especially auspicious moment. The astrological signs at the moment of Gadadhar's birth. We shall take it up tomorrow, this last portion. And those who have this book in 2 volumes, please bring with you the 2nd volume also. Because in Bengali, at this point, that astrological description is given. But in the English edition, they have shifted it at the end of the book, end of the 2nd volume. I would read out from that. So, it is one day we have, if you have the full in 1 volume, all right. If you have it in 2 volumes, then those who are following Bengali or Marathi or Hindi, for them there is no problem. But those who are following the great master in English, then they should bring the 2nd volume also, because we will refer to that. Up to that point we have come. Om Sarvadharma Sthapakasvam Sarvadharma Swarupakaha Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.